Hi, I'm 2021 Why Not Cam Awards winner Chelsea Poe. I'm here to tell you about my cam studio, Treasure Cams. Treasure Cams is a performer-led webcam studio owned by queer porn star Bella Vendetta. We welcome all 21 plus models who want to earn a paycheck from home as cam performers. We're open to all body types, genders, persuasions, and presentations. You get access to our performer-only forums, monthly team meetings, as well as help with promotion and marketing. For customers, check out treasurecams.com to see all of our models, schedules, and photos. treasurecams.com. Have you ever been looking for an amazing queer cam performer? Well, I got you covered. You should check out TS Cami. Her super hot content is on Chatterbait, Twitter, Xhamster, and Reddit. Support this rad trans femme babe. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special AVN Week episode of the Performers Pod. I'm Chelsea Poe, and I'm here today with 2025 AVN Award nominee Anna Lynx. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi. Hello,
I'm
everyone.
I'm so excited to have you on. First off, congrats on your first nomination.
Thank you. Well,
So,
congratulations to you as well, because we
yeah,
shared this nomination.
it's a lot. It's crazy to think looking back at my first. It's been a decade now. My first one was 2015, so it's been a lot of things has changed in
Yeah.
porn in that time. So we had such a great time. I had such a great time collaborating you in February. We collaborated during the Amsterdam Porn Film Festival week
Yeah.
at my hotel, and I had such a great time working with you. And I've just like you're such a genuine person in this industry, and just like so chill and mature. So I'm just so glad we've gotten to link up. Honestly,
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I loved working with you as well. It was really amazing experience. And yeah, well, the results are also great, right?
yeah, right. So
Yeah.
so a little bit about like your history in porn. You're originally from Poland, but then you moved to the Netherlands, and then you got into porn around the pandemic, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I first started as a webcam model.
Mm-hmm.
So I started in 2020, pandemic, pandemic webcam girl.
A good
And
time to start.
yeah, yeah, well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure actually, because I think the market became very um so full of of new girls in this period.
For sure.
But well, it was an experience. And um, 1.5 years later, I started with porn. So yeah, in like 2022,
Which
beginning of 22. Yeah.
yeah, that we have like the same journey into porn. I also started as a cam model. I cam for I think about a year and a half
hmm
before also getting into porn. So that we have this in common is I think just so rare, especially in the Netherlands. I feel like the camming to porn gateway is like pretty rare, where I feel like most people in the Netherlands do more like in-person sex work and porn is almost more secondary.
Uh, yeah, well, yeah, there are such a different sectors, right? So
Hmm.
some are overlapping, and some people do both. They do porn, they do also in-person sex work, and they do webcamming, or yeah, like mixing of everything. Um, but yeah, indeed, there are a lot of in-person workers. Um, there are also, of course, porn performers as well. Um, yeah, I think yeah, it's for a journey from coming uh, to porn. Well, I have met a few people who
Hmm.
have done that, but I think yeah, in person is probably the most common.
For sure. I feel like for me, like getting into camming, I got into it because it was the most successful form of sex work for me, where it was like, okay,
Okay.
I can do this in my bedroom right now. I can make 20 euro right now, where I feel like the other forms of sex work seem like so daunting, especially growing up in a Dutch community in the States.
Yeah.
In-person sex work is like such a red flag, no, like, oh my God, so illegal and so
Oh,
criminalized. Yeah, so it's just like a
Yeah.
very different perspective. But so you've gone to the States a few times for like XBiz and other events like that. How would you kind
Yeah.
of feel going into, so you're doing XBiz next week, right? And then you're doing AVN the week
Yes.
after. How are you feeling
Yes.
right now?
I'm super excited. I'm basically almost ready with everything. I'm also, yeah, the preparations are also kind of exhausting. It's everything because like it's a long trip. Um, it's gonna be a long stay for me. Also,
Hmm.
the trip is long. Like everything, I'm trying to take this look into the future. To what should I take? What shouldn't I take? And prepare everything. So yeah, it's a lot, but I'm
For
super
sure.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah, it's only an hour flight for me from San Francisco to LA. I mean to LA or Vegas, and even that, I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, there's so much preparation that goes into it. Yeah, I saw you
Right.
on Instagram or Twitter like sewing something for the awards. I'm just
Yes.
like, oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. I ordered a dress and it's actually it was one size too big, so
Oh.
I had to make it smaller. And yeah, I'm just like a one person orchestra, so I'm just gonna do it by myself.
I love that so much. So where were you when you found out you got nominated for the first time?
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting story. I was just about to fly back from my vacation.
Hmm.
So I was at the airport, Malaga airport in
Hmm.
Spain, and I just had my breakfast at the airport, and then I read your message, and I was like, oh my God, I was almost like crying, laughing, and
Aw.
yeah, yeah, that was crazy. So, yeah, I immediately went to the airport bar and ordered champagne.
I love that so much. I'm glad you like really celebrated that because I feel like so many people
Yeah.
like in the States it comes out I think like usually like around midnight Pacific time.
Okay.
So like I got my first one when I was on the East Coast for a shoot. So I found out at 3 in the morning. And I was like out at a bar the first
Wow.
time with friends and they're like, "Oh my God." So that you got to
Wow.
like really experience it in the morning and really be in that for the rest of the day. I feel like that's so
That's
special.
true. I really felt like it was so surreal to me. It was so surprising, and um, I just had like all the serotonin boost for the whole day. I felt
Yeah.
like on a cloud.
Yeah, I loved collaborating, but like I don't think either of us were gonna when we shot the scene we're like, yeah, this is gonna get nominated for an AVN.
No, no, I love the scene, and it's amazing scene to be fair. But I have never thought of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like just like how we ended up collaborating was really organic. That was like, okay.
that's
I
true.
mean, um, I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast, but I swear I've been to the Netherlands probably 5 times in the last year. So I have this like
Hmm.
weird thing where I've worked so much there, and that was just like, oh yeah, who else wants to collaborate? And that just like naturally, organically happened. I think was so special.
That's true. Yeah, and so, like the scene went on so smoothly, and I just feel like the scene itself is so organic, and
Hmm.
I just feel like it feels so natural.
For sure.
Yeah, it felt so natural to me, but also when I watch it back, I just feel like it's yeah, just such a good vibe.
Yeah, 100%. And I
Yeah,
feel like that's really what came across in it, that it was so organic and natural, that it wasn't this thing that was months of planning or anything, that it was like, okay, yeah, let's make something
yeah,
together, and it just happened. Um,
yeah,
so do you have like a different mindset going into this than maybe like XBiz in the past? Because obviously you've been to American conventions and
yeah,
conventions in Europe, like you've probably gone to XBiz Amsterdam, maybe like the Venus Awards in Berlin. Is this kind of a
yeah.
different mindset going into this?
Yeah, it is a different mindset. Well, it has always been my dream to be nominated. So
Yeah.
and now, yeah, I have always like during the award shows, I watch people on a big screen, and I was just like, oh my God, I really, really wish to have it one day, to be
Yeah.
there.
It
And
is.
it was something that I was like manifesting so so hard.
And it worked.
And it
Um,
worked. Yeah, yeah.
it it definitely feels like it's like when you talk about porn to people who aren't in porn, they know about it, I feel like. It's like the one thing they know. Feel like I compare it to like if you're like a skier or something and you like do all this professional skiing and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, the Olympics. I know one thing." You know? It kind of
Okay.
has that sort of vibe where I feel like the general public, if they know one thing about porn, it's like AVN basically.
Okay. I feel like in Europe it's not as known.
Oh, really?
So I had to kind of like explain to people what it is. Yeah, when I was like telling some random people that I'm nominated. Like I
Yeah.
told you yesterday, for instance, to the nurse who was doing my testing, taking
Mm-hmm.
the blood, and she tried to talk to me just to distract me because I'm scared of needles. And she said, "Yeah,
Same.
so this trip to the US, where are you going?" And I told her I'm actually nominated to a yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, "Well, it's like Oscar but for porn." So yeah, a lot of people actually they don't know here in Europe. But when they hear about it, they're like, "Oh my God, that's huge!" So yeah,
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 it's
I think
crazy.
yeah, I really look forward to this event, and um, yeah, it feels so different to attend now. Although I have always been like preparing so well for this event because I find it very important
Mm-hmm.
for myself to prepare well, but also for my brand. But now I feel like I have to do this extra, you know?
Yeah, I feel like it definitely makes it on another level because I just feel like you'll see, because this is your first one, like just how widespread it is over Vegas. That I feel like XBiz
Hmm.
and stuff, it's very much like, oh, it's at this one hotel. Where when you land in
Yeah,
Vegas, you're gonna see ads for AVN on billboards, you're gonna see it on like taxis.
wow.
It's really everywhere. So it's like a
Well,
real,
I really look forward to that. I'm very curious
yeah,
how it's gonna be and it's gonna look like.
yeah, whenever like I had a lot of different family members who when they first found out I was in porn, like nominated for AVN, they're like, "Oh my God, do you know this person?" Because everyone in porn's there. So like it's this really weird thing where you really get to meet just casually like the big names of
Yeah,
porn. Like I remember, I think it was my third year, I was next to Riley Reid on the red carpet and we just like had a conversation. It was like feels very strange where I'm like, we're in very different worlds of porn, but also we're all kind of here.
yeah, yeah, that's true. And indeed, like I also feel, yeah, sometimes I just feel like when I meet some people at a convention, and especially when I just started, it was like, oh my God, this is like a big name, and now I'm here, you know, and I just felt so intimidated sometimes
Hmm.
and so shy. But I also try to remind myself that for most, like basically everybody who is in porn now, they have also been at my place.
For sure.
So yeah, I just feel like it's so uh, yeah that you always start somewhere and everybody started somewhere. So
Hmm.
yeah, I just feel like try to remind myself about it always.
Is there
But
like any, are there
yeah,
any like performers you want to meet that like you maybe look up to?
oh, I really don't know. I haven't thought about it this way. Um, yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I'm more like, okay, whoever is there, I look forward to meet everybody.
That's so amazing. Yeah, my first year I met do you know who Joanna Angel is?
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I met her my first year and I was just like, "Oh my God." You're like,
Wow.
yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll have some of those experiences where you'll meet people that you're like, "Oh my God, I never even thought they would be there," and that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm just like so excited for you to have this first experience. And honestly, the last few years with different films I've been on, we've had a few like first time people. So I feel like that's always what like kind of keeps me going in this because I get to see their excitement and their like wonder of all of this. Where I feel like after a while, like when you're the person who's been there, you know, eight, nine times, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, this
So,
again.
yeah. So it's gonna be like 10th time for you? Because
Yeah,
your first
yeah.
time was in 2015, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was a very
Wow.
different industry then. Um, yeah, it's a very strange thing to be back again. So it's returning to the venue where it used to be when I went my first time. So it's a really cool like red carpet thing they used to do that runs through the entire hotel. So or like the entire casino
Okay.
part. And also this is your first time to Vegas, so
Yes.
it's a whole
Yeah.
experience. It's unlike
Yeah, I'm so
any
excited.
it's unlike any other place. Like it's so surreal.
Well, I really look forward to see it with my own eyes, not only on TV. And yeah, to experience how is the the nightlife in
For
Vegas.
sure.
Yeah.
Um, what did performing kind of look for you this year? Like what was your kind of whole year look like? Like were you traveling a lot? Were you mostly shooting stuff in the Netherlands? Did you go to a lot of
Um,
conventions?
yeah. Last year was very, very busy. I traveled a lot. I traveled twice to the US, to Las Vegas and to Miami for exhibits. So these were like the longest trips or the biggest
Yeah.
trips. But I also traveled to Spain, to Germany, uh, yeah, to the events, also to Bucharest,
Hmm.
a Bucharest summit. It was also a great convention for industry people. And so every time I go somewhere, I try to call up and bring back some nice videos for my fans. They already know about it. Like when I tell them I'm going on a trip, then they ask me with who we're collabing with. So yeah, it's always a lot of excitement. I haven't collabed that much in the Netherlands. Um, a few times, but yeah, mostly when I travel, and sometimes I even collab with Dutch people on a trip. Yeah,
That's just like so amazing that you put all this work in, you traveled, you're, shooting everywhere you're going and you're actually seeing the results. Like that's really special that like
yeah,
you're seeing your hard work be rewarded.
that's true. Yeah, it's very important for me to see it now, and yeah, although the scene this was not this was around the corner, right? Because we shot
Yeah.
it in Amsterdam, so for me it was not a trip, but for you.
I mean,
um,
it's like an hour trip for you still. That's a trip.
Yeah, yeah, that's still a trip. I had to pack my suitcase,
Yeah,
you know.
right? You had a suitcase with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the more you do those international trips like from the States to Europe or vice versa, like they get a little bit easier. Like I think I've done
Hmm.
it 4 or 5 times this last year and now I'm like, oh, 10 hours, that's not that bad. Have you like been getting pretty used to it or does it still feel pretty intense?
Mm, I am pretty used to travel by plane.
Hmm.
I think, yeah, it's in the meantime, I'm just like, okay, on the autopilot, just going through the airport. So yeah, in the meantime, it's easy, but also yeah, European trips are a little bit shorter. Like within the Europe, let's say it's gonna be maximum 3 hours for me, three and a half
Hmm.
hours. But the trip to LA is gonna be uh, yeah, 11 hours, I think.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah, so it's a long one, and I feel like I'm a very patient person, and I can also entertain myself very well. So I'm never bored. Uh, so actually, I like the time when I have to just sit down and just spend it on a plane and um relax or
yeah.
try to relax. So it's kind of the time which I always try to see uh, as a time which I have to kind of step back.
Yeah,
And so yeah,
I kind of like it that you like can't really do anything on a plane that you're just like, okay, well, I can't edit, obviously. I can't be editing porn on a plane. I
no,
can't be like camming, obviously. That I'm like, okay, I just have to do nothing kind of and just like take up
yeah,
time. It's kind of nice where it's like, okay, it's great.
that's true. And somehow I really like it that the situation forces me to do so because I sometimes needed to just do nothing. And yeah, obviously it's impossible to work on a plane. Yeah.
So yeah, did you have like any challenges during this year? I mean, obviously, I think we're probably like mostly past COVID. I think I got COVID
Yeah.
earlier this year. I don't think it was on a set, but
Oh,
there's still like some challenges regarding that. And we've actually talked about this before, kind of how hard testing is in Europe, how there isn't really anything
yes.
that's so uniform like there is in
Yeah.
LA or Vegas or even Miami with talent testing. Yeah, did you have any
Hmm.
challenges this year?
Uh, yeah, well, I think the testing is the most challenging in the Netherlands. In other countries, it's a little bit easier, but in the Netherlands it's very difficult. And it's becoming even more. So this year is going to be a real challenge
Mm,
regarding testing. And um, yeah, I think testing is the biggest challenge actually in the European porn industry, or at least like the Western Europe, because I know there's the talent testing service in Prague and Budapest.
hmm.
Yeah, Budapest. But yeah, obviously it's a little bit further away. So yeah, that's testing is challenging. I think what is also challenging for me is the amount of events and travels.
Hmm.
So to kind of find a balance between the travel modes and then also like the regular work, like the connecting with fans and posting, editing. So yeah, it's always challenging for me uh, to be back home and then to switch and then
Yeah,
switch back. So yeah,
it's really like I don't think most people understand that how you have to almost have like a normal home life and then
yeah,
also you're like going out and you're living this whole other life where you're like traveling around the world and stuff and like being able to perform basically on cue and
yeah,
stuff. Like I think it's just
yeah,
such a challenge to like find that balance because I think a lot of people get so burnt out in this industry because their whole life becomes focused on, okay, my life is when I go out and travel and I'm shooting things. And then when they're at home, that
yeah,
gets really neglected and can really like have a high and low sort of thing, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's very challenging. Indeed, what you said. Uh, that's it can burn you out very very quickly. Uh, and yeah, indeed, like living the life of events and shoots. It's like everything is happening in one at once.
For real.
So yeah, there's a lot of dopamine,
Yeah,
dopamine
it's
boost constantly, and then we are back home and the dopamine is a bit lower because yeah, not that many things are happening around you. So yeah, that's sometimes yeah,
Yeah, I
probably the reason
think
to get burnt out. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean you've been in the industry since like 2021. So that's like fairly long. I feel like the usual porn career is only like a year, maybe two. So you're like past that now. Do you feel like this is a sustainable thing, like long term for you that you want to stay in?
Yeah, I think so. Uh, yeah, I feel like I would like to stay in the industry because I really enjoy it. And also, I feel that there is so much in the industry to discover
Mm-hmm.
and to yeah, to work on. Like, if I don't want to work as a performer, there are still so many other jobs I could
Mm-hmm.
do because we have so many different departments
For
of the
sure.
industry. And even like if we're only talking about porn, yeah, there's also directing, there's also like producing. So yeah, maybe that's the future path for me. Who knows? But
Yeah.
yeah, I have art background, so maybe that's one of the things which I would like to do in the future.
It's amazing. Yeah, I think a thing that's gonna really take you by surprise at AVN is just how big this industry is and how vast it is and like how it's in basically every single part of the world. And I think like that's like the coolest thing where there's like performers from like literally everywhere, where you have performers from South America, you have performers from Asia, you have performers from Australia, Europe. Like it really makes you realize how big this
Uh,
whole thing is. So I feel like it can feel especially when I'm home, porn can feel very small, where it's like, okay,
yeah,
I'm working on this in my living room right now. It's gonna be released to the world. Some people are obviously gonna see it, but it feels like something that like lived in my computer, you know?
yes, that's true. Very often I just feel like, oh my God, I released this video and I feel like, yeah, I would like the world to see it. And and then I'm like, okay, has even anybody watched the film? And yeah, but sometimes it's surprising uh, which videos do well and which not. So that's also some other topic
Yeah,
of discussion, I think.
it is very strange to think I'm like the scene that we were in the movie that we're in that got nominated for Best BDSM. I'm like, it was just on my computer 5 months ago. I was editing in this room and now it's nominated for all this stuff and like getting all these opportunities where I feel like as big as porn can feel at the time and be like, oh wow, I just flew 10 hours for us to shoot together during this. And it also
Yeah,
feels like so the opposite of that too, where it's just like, oh, we made something with one other person in the room. And then I edited
yeah.
on my computer in the morning, one morning, and then
Okay, it took you one morning to edit.
yeah, I mean,
Wow, cool.
I feel like my editing process is months of procrastination. And then I'm like, okay, I'll just start clipping it a little bit. And then a few minutes later, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, it's like done basically. How about you? Are you really good on editing stuff on time or do you procrastinate a bit?
Oh, I'm procrastinating a lot. I still got the videos uh, from 3 years ago, and I feel so ashamed about it.
Yeah.
But somehow, as longer the video, as less um, willpower I've got to work on it. So yeah, but I've got a list on the of the videos I
Hmm.
still need to edit, and every time I pick up one and just trying to, go through this list. But also because of my shoots and traveling and shooting so much content, the list gets longer and longer. So yeah, but I love editing. I love creative work. So yeah, that's something for me.
I'm like, I love editing when it's done. The about to edit phase is so hard for me. Like getting ready, like once I put on the timeline, it might sit there for like a few weeks to a month where I'm just like, okay, eventually this is gonna happen. But
Yeah.
Also, I feel like I have this moment of fraud when I don't edit something in time, where I'm like, well, this is content. Why haven't I edited this? Was this just to shoot the scene for myself? And then I'm like, of course it's not. But I can
Yeah.
definitely get into that mindset where I'm like, did I just shoot this to shoot this?
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, that's also kind of recognizable. But sometimes I feel like some scenes they need to, I don't know, just need the right time.
Yeah. Um, so what are you like most looking forward to with AVN? Like that whole week, what are you looking forward to the most?
Hmm. Well, of course, the awards and the red
Yeah.
carpet. So that's probably the one thing I really look forward to. I also look forward to see you again.
Yeah, likewise.
And yeah, we made some
I'm
plans already, so I'm really excited about it.
I'm just like so excited. Oh, I don't know if I've been told you. This is exclusive on the pod. I'm actually heading back to Amsterdam in 2 weeks after AV. No, not even 2 weeks after AVN, like 5 days for the film
Really?
festival. Yeah.
Oh, right. There's
Yeah. So
yeah, there's one film festival in Amsterdam. Oh, yeah, that's true.
yeah. So that we've gotten to do. We worked together like a month ago now in December, and then we're
Yeah,
doing AVN together, and then I'm gonna be back again. That we get to experience this stuff together. It's really nice to have a friend and someone who's also like a
yeah.
colleague to experience all this with. So I'm really excited about
Oh.
that, and my partner and I are super excited to show you Vegas because it's we've been there way, way, way too many times because of porn. So we're really excited for that. So let's say we're going to the award show. What would winning
Yeah,
mean? Like, we're going against some companies with a lot of money. Like, we're going against Wicked, which I believe is worth like
yeah,
hundreds of millions of dollars.
yeah.
So, if we can pull up and win, like, what would that mean to you?
Oh, it will mean the world to me, honestly, really. I'm kind of like I'm staying very chill about awards because I'm
Yeah,
trying to like make myself super crazy. Um, but of course, I would love to win, and this would be a huge step, especially if you see our competitors.
right?
I think,
We're
yeah, that's really amazing that we are on this list, and for me, it's already a huge win.
for sure.
But yeah, if indeed the scene is gonna win, then yeah, I think it would mean also that porn is not really exclusive to this huge brand.
Hmm.
You know, I just feel like it's gonna be the confirmation that you can just get your iPhone and shoot a scene, and
For
it's
real.
also valuable to people. So yeah, I feel like if it's gonna win, it's gonna be also a win to all smaller creators who just yeah shoot stuff on their phone and post online.
Yeah.
And yeah, this would be huge. Yeah.
Yeah, 60% of this movie was shot on iPhones. Like, it's just like so funny because when I first got into the industry, like in 2015, everything was so based on this person's director, this person has a company because they own the gear. And now it's so decentralized where anyone, if you have a new iPhone, you can shoot in 4K, you can shoot in
Yeah.
high definition, you can get a lighting
Yes.
kit off of Amazon or go to Hema and be able to do that, you know? Where it's just so
Yeah.
much more accessible now. I think that's so magical. Also, that we're like, I believe we're the only film shot in the Netherlands that's nominated this year.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's
That's
crazy
true.
to me that it's like
Yeah.
in a country that has such a deep history of sex work and everything that we're the one movie that's shot there nominated on this stage is
Yeah.
really
That's
important.
true.
And if we win, like, that's amazing. Like, I never thought something
Right?
we shot in Amsterdam West would be nominated for this, but I'm very excited about that. So let's say we win. What's the celebration? How hard do you want to go?
Oh my God, I have to fly back the next day.
Oh, you're flying back the next day?
Yeah.
Oh, so I guess you're gonna stay up all night then if we win.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I
Yeah,
think so.
that's kind of my whole outlook on AVN. So I'm staying pretty late. I'm staying all the way until Monday. So I'm like,
Okay.
there's an extra day. I'm always hesitant to shoot stuff the next morning because I'm like, should I do that? Because what if we win? You know, because then it's this whole
Yeah,
celebration, everything. But
that's
yeah,
true. Oh my God.
um, so
Maybe
I
I
want.
have to rebook my ticket.
I know. I'm like, just slide your ticket back. I'm like, I'm sure the airline has one on Monday, maybe. Um, but so I have one final question. It's my only
Yeah.
question that's like really out there in the world that's kind of not solely based on AVN or where porn is right now. So let's say you could change anything about the entire porn industry, whether it's here, in Europe, anywhere. What would you have that be?
Oh, uh, yeah, that's a difficult question because there are so many things
Yeah.
need to be addressed. Um, I think, um, um, well, maybe let's start with the stigma in general
hmm
for sex workers because I
For
think
sure.
this is the reason why we are facing all the other issues. It's just because people somehow think that our work is not worthy. So yeah,
hmm
I think the stigma is like the biggest issue in all sex industry, also in porn. Um, yeah, and well, what else? Um, I think like for Europe or maybe for the Netherlands, like for porn
hmm
industry here, I would really wish to have more accessible testing
For sure.
because this would help a lot. A lot of porn performers would have such a easier life if we could get tested like mm, more regularly and also more it would be more affordable.
Yeah. I mean, I wish so there's like already for similar industries where there's a lot of fluid exchange, there
Hmm.
is set testing by states and by countries' governments. It's actually really interesting because this is also mine. My thing is would also be the testing. So like in boxing or like fighting of any sort, state
Yeah.
commissions run all of that. So for like someone
Oh,
to be an MMA fighter or a boxer, before you get into the ring, they have to go through all the same blood testing that performers do. Because obviously there's to be fluid and
okay.
blood exchange. I
Yes.
don't know if I necessarily trust. I mean, I guess I would trust the Dutch government more than any state government in the United States. Um, not saying the Dutch government's
Well,
perfect at all, but that they view it as like a real public health thing where this thing's going to happen in the country or the state, where in California, obviously, the porn industry is going to be here forever as long as we're allowed to be here.
yeah.
That I feel like if the state steps in and said, we're going to handle all the testing and just say, this is a public health thing and we're going to protect people in
Yes.
this industry and offer free or very accessible testing. I feel like for me, that's like
Yeah.
the biggest thing because even in San Francisco, where there's a lot of porn performers here left, it's not what it used to be when I first moved here. We still had talent testing here, but over the pandemic, it
Hmm.
closed. So to get tested here, you have to do the same thing you do in the Netherlands, where you have to go to a separate clinic that isn't really working
Yeah.
with porn performers, and you have to basically explain to them because they always ask, they're like, "Oh, do you have an exposure? Why are you getting tested?" And you're like, I get tested every month, basically. I have to do
Yeah.
this for work, and they're like, it's always kind of a weird situation. And even with that, I've had
Mm-hmm.
some false positives before because they're testing so many
Oh,
other people that are
yeah.
showing signs of things, so there can be easily cross contamination. And then it ends up with me
Mm,
having to get tested again once I get to whatever city I'm in to prove that it was a false positive. And that happened to me twice
oh,
last year.
oh my God.
And
That's
I've never
crazy.
luckily had an STI or STD in my life, but it's still
Yeah.
this thing where, false positives are going to happen. But when you're in a position where you're getting tested, where most of the other people are getting tested because they're showing signs of something or had an exposure, I feel like
Yeah.
that's far more likely than when you go to somewhere like talent testing where they're testing, you know, 100 performers a day who just come in, quick do everything and
Yeah.
then leave.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Well, I really wish that we had talent testing here
Well,
because this would solve a lot.
I
Really.
mean, hopefully there becomes more of a porn community in Amsterdam and other parts of the Netherlands where talent
Mm-hmm.
testing feels like they should go in. And I personally, I feel like the Amsterdam Film Festival gives me a lot of hope that it seems
Yeah.
like there's growth in that community. And I'm really excited to be back for it. And I had such a great time last time.
Yeah.
So here's to hoping there's more performers, both in the Netherlands and internationally, who decide to come for it and hopefully can really build up a big community there.
Yeah, this would be great. And I think, yeah, I would love if we had a big, strong community here. I feel like in Europe we've got the big community in Berlin and
Mm-hmm.
also in Barcelona. So these are like two cities where I find a lot of porn performers to work with. But yeah, kind of like the Netherlands, maybe we could actually have something, but it's not. Um, it's also like spread it around a little bit because some performers live somewhere far away, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's not like not everything, not the whole Netherlands is just Amsterdam, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, when my partner and I were walking around Devon, I think like a year ago or something, and they're like, "Oh, why don't these girls like do porn or camming?" It's just like it's just different here. Where it's like that's just not where the mindset is. Where in California, if you're doing sex work, it's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do porn or camming." Where I think when it
Yeah.
becomes more of a viable option and more of a thing where it's like, oh, you can also make an artistic outlet and also make money off of this and really see it as a viable option. I think that's going to
Yeah.
really grow creatively and just like what is kind of possible that you don't have to move to Berlin or to Barcelona to pursue a porn career. Because I do know multiple people who are like porn directors, like Poppy Sanchez. Do you know Poppy
Hmm.
Sanchez? Yeah,
Yeah, we exchanged few emails. Yeah.
yeah. She's from Amsterdam, but had to move to Berlin to become a porn director. And
Oh,
I'm just like, oh, that's such a kind of interesting thing. Um, but yeah, I'm
yeah.
so excited to do AVN with you, and so excited that
Mm.
I'm I'm sure you're gonna be around during the film festival in Amsterdam, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll
Yeah.
try. I'll try to be.
Yeah, so I'm really excited just that we get to experience all of this together, and I've had such a great time collaborating with you this year. Where can everyone find you on social media and anywhere else?
Well, I've got a website. It's analinks.com, but you can also find me on Instagram, Miss Analinks Official, and my X or Twitter, however it's called. It's Miss Analinks. Plus, I also have a second account, like BDSM account, but if you find this one, you'll find the second one as well.
Well, thank you so much for talking, and I can't wait to see you in a few weeks, and hopefully we have a podcast after we win. That'd be terrific. So, thank you.
Yeah, let's manifest that.
Yeah. Thank you so much
Yeah,
again.
thank
And
you so much. I
yeah, let's say,
really enjoyed talking with you. And well, I enjoyed working with you, and you're such an amazing person. Like I feel
oh,
like the conversation flows so easily between us. So yeah, the vibe is so good. And I
yeah.
can't wait to see you in a few weeks.
Yeah, see everyone in Vegas on the red carpet.
Yeah.